Hey everyone, it's Luke here from Astro Awakening. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's video, I'm discussing the 222222 portal, as well as the Pluto return for the United States chart, and my interpretation of things, help you understand a little bit and give you a bit more context, a little bit of different ways to think about what's going on. And we might dive into a little bit of Pisces energy as well and how to understand that and get a way to personally tap into the symbol or the symbolism of Pisces energy. So first, let's begin with 222222, the 22nd of the 2nd, 2022. It's kind of cool, isn't it? And it happens on a Tuesday. We've seen the memes going around. We've seen the inundation on social media with the posts around it's a portal. Let's go there. Let's have a look if it is a portal. Portal meaning, let's just look up the portal and let's share this so everyone can have a look. Right here, portal. Here we are here, portal. A doorway, gate, or other entrance, especially a large and imposing one, a website or web page providing access or links to other sites. So the idea of a portal is it's an opening basically into something else. Well, isn't every single day a portal into a new experience? Don't we have the opportunity every single day with a new day, with the dawning of the new rising sun? Don't we have an opportunity to experience a new reality? The challenge, that's the portal opening. That was my last opportunity. The car's going by. I think I'm pretty sure he tooted his horn 2 times. But anyway, the problem I personally have with the New Age movement is when it comes into things like this and it puts a lot of emphasis on particular dates, and all they are using as a reference or a validation for these portals is, isn't that cool? We've got the 22nd of the 2nd, 2022. Well, let's just dissect the 2022 for a moment, right? 2022 years since what? Since AD, or since 1 BC, before Christ, before Common Era, BC, BCE, AD, I think it's Anno Domino or something like that, which basically means the year of the Christ. And this is a reconciled year of the Christ. In other words, they just sort of said that Jesus Christ's year or birth year was the zero count, right? Which began this count of 2022. Well, Jesus Christ, right? At the moment, so just hold that theme, Jesus and Christ. And this ties into Pisces, you know, the age of Pisces, which we are currently in, transitioning out of. Again, there's a bit of ambiguity about that, but that's a side topic. But humanity, or humankind, probably not humanity, but humankind, have been on this earthbound plane for a lot longer than 2022 years. So who died and made this the calculation of date and time? And think about it too. In this world, we're controlled by linear time. In the quantum field, or the etheric state, you know, beyond physical form, there is no space and there is no time. Time is a linear concept that we apply to material existence in the human form, right? And there's power in time and controlling time. Think about that, controlling time. Who controls time in this realm? Well, the first calendar around the 2000 years ago, 2022 years ago, was derived by the Romans, right? Because we were in the Roman era. And then we moved into the Julian calendar based on Julius Caesar's reign as the emperor of the Roman Empire. And then in the 1500s, we had Pope Gregory XIII, papal, adjust the Julian calendar because it was said that we had slipped 10 days, I feel. somewhere in 15th century, they went from October 4th and the very next day was October 15th. And Pope Gregory said, that's what we're going to do now. And that became the Gregorian calendar. And it's just a way for humans to quantify linear time, right? And we just all agree upon that as being, this is the year. Well, again, it would suggest what was going on before, like in BCE, before Common Era. We go back to the Sumerian and Babylonian and the Atlantean and all that. Like, why aren't we measuring time from that point of time? And if we were, would today be the 22nd of the 2nd, 2022? No, it wouldn't. From their perspective, it wouldn't. Now, not everyone, all of a sudden, you know, wasn't a clean slate at this 1 AD or 1 BC. There wasn't just like a wipe out of the entire reality and world and we started again. There was this transition. In fact, the current Gregorian calendar wasn't adopted by some countries until like the early 1900s. So it said that there was a lot of discrepancy around that demarcation or quantification of time, space, calendar, dates, and all of those things. So why am I making a point about this? Well, it comes back to the fact that today, according to the church, the Catholic Church, today, according to the Catholic Church, right, the Vatican, today is the 22nd of February, 2022, CE, Common Era, or AD, which was, you know, said to be after death, right? But after the birth of age, that even that date of the birth of Christ, if you look into that, there's still some discrepancy around that. They think it might have been between 6 and 4 BCE. So the actual zero count on this calendar that we're in, that even that is up for debate. It's just agreed upon ideas by man as to this is the time that it is. Now, I'm not taking away anything from the fact of numerology and numbers have power, but perhaps these numbers, especially within the matrix system, we're governed by numbers. We're ruled over by numbers. Numbers on your phone numbers, your license, your bank account, the value of your bank account, right? It's definitely numbers are a way to control. And when the New Age movement, which I don't think I'm New Age, fucking I'm not. But when there's this New Age movement around, oh, like it's a portal. Like if you're new to spirituality, which New Age and spirituality don't have, like you can take a shit and that can be a spiritual process. You don't have to have a lot of crystals and be meditating and, you know, and aligning to the portal of 2022 to be a spiritual person or a spiritual being. You can be doing that chopping wood. In fact, you know, like the Buddhist saying of before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water, right? So it's just the application of a spiritual way of being and way of life. We don't just sort of save them up for these particular New Age dates and go, okay, well, this is the portal. Because I fear for some of the people that are new to this type of reality or a way of looking at things are going to be like, oh, I didn't really feel anything on the portal, or is there something wrong with me? What should I be doing? That's another thing that I've looked at some of the comments of these posts, and it's like, what should we be doing? And anytime you are in a situation where you feel disempowered as to no, I don't know what to do, I'm asking you, like someone is depriving you of your sovereignty, of your spiritual being. It's like, you know, it's like taking away from the facts. It's like, what do you feel like you should be doing? Do you feel any different than 2021? Sorry, from the 21st of the 2nd, 2020? Do you ever feel tomorrow when you wake up, you're going to be disappointed that you didn't zap out of this realm and into a different portal? And people will go, oh yeah, but it's an ability to manifest a new timeline and jump into a new timeline, or, you know, to let go of something. And yeah, I agree. But so is the 21st of February. So is the 26th of February. So is the fucking 25th of August. What a legend date that is. It's any fucking day. It's like when we celebrate New Year's Day. We all, oh, Happy New Year. Like every day is a new year in some form of calendar. Right? Who says that's the particular day that we need to do this? So to summarize, I know I go around and around and around, to summarize, who fucking died and made this the portal? And just because it's a 22222, I mean, it's cool. Get it. That's cool. 2 has a meaning, it's duality, it's cooperation, it's balance, it's harmony, it's you and other, right? It's relationship. There's a lot of esoteric meaning to the number 2, but giving importance to a date based on just the date, I think is misleading at best, and downright destructive at worst on a lot of different levels. So I don't post about the date. I'll take the piss out of it. It's just what I do. You can be spiritual and not know anything about today, and you can do fuck all today. In fact, you can have a shitty fucking day and go backwards in your self-awareness and fall into old habits and just be a fucking downright prick, or feel like you don't know what you're fucking doing and lost, and that is okay as well. Because why? Because tomorrow is a new day. Tomorrow is a new day. A new day, a new presents. Well, we can say that it is a new day because we get a new sun, right? We get the sun rising in each day. And in each day is contained everything, right? Every day is a birthday. It's just that we celebrate the calculation of a year being a birth year. But really, every day you should be celebrating your birth. Why not? Who just limits and restricts it? And who limits it to these portals on these particular days? Portal is a misuse of, that's a misuse of that term. A door, a gateway, an opening. Okay, let's say it is. Let's say I'll reserve my judgment, my perspective, my opinion till tomorrow. I'll post tomorrow and go, hey, how's that 2020-22 portal working out for you? What happened? Did you wake up in a different reality? Did you feel the same old way? Now I know that very simplistically, some people are, if I generalize and say some people probably be disappointed tomorrow, they didn't, but to be fair, when you place a lot of hype around it, and a lot of so-called spiritual people placing so much importance, it's a powerful day. Fuck, it's Tuesday. I mean, Tuesday is ruled by the planet Mars. Mars is about, power and action and motivation. So I guess in that perspective, but is this day any more powerful than the next because the numbers are consecutive or, repetitive? I don't think so. I just think it's a distraction from, it's like idealizing or giving false meaning to things, and it's like, no. I feel like if you want to if you're looking for a way for the cosmos to support your dreams and your desires and your manifestations, then align to the cycle of the moon, right? The new moon bringing about a seed, an opportunity to bring about something new, and the full moon about the revelation, the releasing, the opening up. So if you really want to have the cosmos on your side and you want to work with the energy of the cosmos, then do so astrologically. The date, this date, I'm pointing to my date up here. I don't know if it's a date on there, but wherever it is on your screen, on my computer, that's where it is. It's up there. This date, this calendar, this is controlled by the Catholic Church. This is who's deciding this is the date and time. The same people that control this reality through the birth chart, the birth certificate, the registration of the birth certificate. So just let that marinate in your noggin. Now, let's move on. Let's move on to, because I've seen some posts about 222 and tying it into the Pluto return of the USA chart. And I feel like context is missing from here, because I've had some people reach out and go, like, send me the post and go, is this true? Like, is this happening? Like, is this real? And it's like, oh, I mean, it's it's missing context and it's misleading. Again, don't have all the information. And with people's limited understanding of this, you can just throw out something to just grab people's attention and go, oh, you know, and it's that same thing. It's like something outside of myself is going to happen or change in this world, or someone's coming along to save us, and something's, you know, that's going to happen. And it's like the power for evolution and change and transformation and manifestation, the power is in your hands. It always is. If you want change, change. There are many ways to live in this, reality. When we place, you know, so much significance on external things, we become, you know, disempowered by the very fact we're like handing over, like, you know, this is going to happen and this is going to happen. I've been guilty of that in the past. Absolutely, I've been guilty of it. I'm not saying I'm not, but I'm just saying, like, it bears to sort of stop in these moments and just ask yourself some deeper questions, because, you know, things can be taken out of context. Things can be vague and very non-specific, which is one of the things I fucking hated about modern astrology, in the sense of the matrix version, through the horoscope in the newspaper and the magazines. For a long time, I knew I was a Virgo before I began studying astrology or even looking into it. And I knew I was a Virgo, and I had some of the traits of perfectionism, and I was a bit of a worrier and an overthinker, and I liked to just have things, you know, a certain way. But you would read your horoscope in the newspaper or the magazine or whatever, and some days it'd be like, oh, wow, that really resonates. And other days like, oh, that's not so specific. And it's because once you understand astrology at the depth of it, it's just looking at such a small little aspect of it and just saying, well, this is who you are, and stereotyping it down into a compartment of just your 1/12 of just what, and it's not that at all. It's like you're always unique as a snowflake. But think about a snowflake, right? It's snow. So each snowflake shares the same compounds, the makeup, but each one is completely different to the next, and no two are the same. It's like, yes, we all have the same conscious energetic makeup, but we're woven. It's like we're cut from the same cloth, but we're woven in different ways. And that's the tapestry of life. So, well, a bit of a tangent then. But Pluto, let's come back, because that was just going in a fucking different direction. But let's come back to Pluto, right? And let's look at the USA chart. Now, it's important to realize that when we, whoops, I better share that so you guys can see it. That's better. When we're looking at a birth chart of a nation, for this, we're looking on the 4th of July, 1776. I think that's their date of independence. Was it, you know, were there people in the USA before this? Absolutely. We're not looking at that. This is the formation of it as a United States coming together, right? In Australia, people often say, like, our birth chart's 1901, January 1st, I think 1901, and it's like, oh, but you know, Aborigines were here before that. Yeah, but we're not. When we're looking at that particular chart, we're not looking at the history of Australia as far as the land is concerned. We're looking at as far as a nation being formed under this. For Australia, it was under the British Crown, right? And why is that significant? Because that is the cultural society we find ourselves in. So if we trace the American one back to their day of independence, not independence, their federation, I think that's what it is. Again, my history on America is not great, but this is the agreed upon chart for America, right? Here is Pluto. So that means that when they sort of got together, the founding fathers, and they signed the Declaration of Independence, I think that's where it was. Again, if you're an American out there, if you know more than I do, please correct me. But in that natal chart, the birth chart of this great nation called the United States of America, Pluto is at 27 degrees, 33 minutes in the second house. Okay, it's important to understand that second house as well. Second house, because Australia has our Pluto natally in the second house as well, in our chart. And the second house rules over money, possessions, wealth, value, the values of a nation, right? So that's really important to understand too, because Pluto has the theme of death and rebirth, or regeneration, or transformation. Transformation of what? Well, of the value system that underpins the collective or the culture or the people of that land. But Pluto is at 27 degrees, 33 minutes in that natal chart, retrograde in the second house. If we look at where Pluto is in the sky at the moment, Pluto in the sky is at 27 degrees and 35 minutes. In fact, yesterday on the 21st here in Australia, okay, Pluto was at 27 degrees and 33 minutes. The exact location in the sky that it was at the time of the birth of this nation. The exact moment that it came back to an exact. So like, why is it, you know, Pluto has the theme of death and rebirth, of destruction and a great transformation taking place, the phoenix rising from the ashes, everything impure being purged out. And, you know, it can be transformation through crisis as well. So like, you know, it's the portal, it's 2222222, it's the portal, and it's like Pluto's return. It's like, oh my God, all these things happening, what's going to happen? And nothing happens. And what it does is it discredits numerology and astrology straight up, because people go, oh, it's just nothing happened on the portal. Oh, nothing happened with the Pluto return. Because they're missing the context of what this means. And they're not looking at a particular date. They're saying, well, it should happen. Why doesn't it happen? And the thing, when you understand Pluto and how it works, and its energy and the way it moves and the type of transformation, it's a slow process. There is a thing called Orb of Influence in astrology. So think of it like this. When you go to the beach in the morning, if you're lucky enough and fortunate enough to watch the sun rise on a new day, which on the east coast of Australia, we can wake up in the morning and the sun's rising over the water. It's a beautiful thing. However, before you see the sun on the horizon, the little tiny orange or yellow blip pop onto the horizon. Before you see that, you feel and see and sense and experience the light coming from that sun of the new day, because the sun is in an orb of influence to the horizon, to the moment of its rising, right? It's not yet reached the exact point of like, oh, there's the sun, there's the new day starting, right? But if you go an hour before sunrise, you'll see the light. It's twilight. It's sort of the dawn is breaking. The sun isn't up yet, but you can feel the influence. So that is an orb of influence. And if we were looking astrologically, we would look at the sun coming over the ascendant and be like, oh, it's still got 10 degrees, maybe 5 degrees or whatever it is, before we can see it, yet its influence is there. So there is a thing called orb of influence. And in astrology, the sun and moon have a very large orb of influence, because the moon in particular, it's very close to the earth, and the sun is the center of the solar system. Solar system, right? So because in astrology, we're using geocentric system. We're putting the earth at the center. That's another side thing. It's a system, right? So these planets, you know, and the moon and the sun, we call them planets or luminaries, they're giving large orbs of influence, right? For that exact reason, you know, like you can feel the influence of the new day long, like an hour at least before the sun comes up, you see the light of the new day, except it hasn't made its actual conjunction with the horizon. And we can't see the sun, but we can feel its effects. And as you move out through the solar system and you get into these planets, they have orbs of influence. And as we get further away from the sun, the orb of influence shrinks down. And loosely, depending on the astrologer, we might give, say, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, we might give them between a 3 and 1 degree of influence, orb of influence. In other words, the effect of that energy is felt before the exact moment of its conjunction. So if we were to give the orb of influence of Pluto just 1 degree and saying that when it got to 26 degrees 33 minutes, it's starting to affect, its influence can be felt, just 1 degree, and then 1 degree the other side, which would be 28 degrees and 33 minutes. The time frame we would be looking at for that, because Pluto is moving so slow, 248 years to go through the entire zodiac, roughly. It's got an ecliptical orbit, so it's not exact. So about 250 odd years for it to go round. That's why we're looking at, 1776 as this taking that long to get back to the starting point. But if we give it 1 degree of influence, right, well, then it started to affect the US chart on the 26th of March, 2021, and it will be in effect until the 3rd of December, 2023. That's how long it's going to be in its orb of influence. During that time, between the 26th of March last year and the 3rd of December next year, a long span of that's 2.5, almost two to 3/4 years, right? Almost 3 years. There will be 3 exact conjunctions. The first being yesterday, 21st of February. The second later this year on the 11th of July, when Pluto retrogrades. And then the last exact conjunction will be on the 28th, 29th of December this year, where it's exact lined up. So the 22nd of the 2nd, 2022 portal, the 22222 portal, and Pluto aligns to its return, but only one of 3. In fact, though, it's been in 1 degree orb of influence since March last year. So it's a little misleading when we think like, oh, 222 portal, and it's this happening. Oh my God, what's going to happen? Well, it's happening. I'll come back to that. I'll come back to the happening of this and how you know it's happening, right? If we expand out, and this is still conservative astrology, but if we expand the orb of influence to 2 degrees, so we give it 2 degrees either side of it exact, then the 12th of February last year, it became into its orb of influence. And then it's going to be in that orb of influence until the 8th of January, 2024. So now we're looking at like, what's that? That's a long time. I got to work that out. That's like 3 years, almost 3 years. Almost 3 years that Pluto's going to be within 2 degree orb of influence of the return. And in that time this year, there's going to be 3 exact passes of it. So that's a huge time span for these themes to manifest, to evolve, and for this transformation to take place. Is it going to happen today? I don't think so. Is it happening already? Yeah, fucking oath it is. Now, Pluto, being in the America chart at 27.5 degrees of Capricorn, the next sign is Aquarius. And next year, Pluto makes it into Aquarius for the first time in 250 years, 248 years. Pluto's going to poke its little head into Aquarius and then retrograde back into Capricorn. And that's going to do this little dance across the cusp of Capricorn and Aquarius now, from 2023 right through until 2025. And it's not until 2025 that Pluto finally leaves Capricorn altogether, and now it stands strong and stands alone in the sign of Aquarius. 2025 is that year. So up until 2025, Pluto is going to be dancing in and out of Capricorn, and the America chart Pluto is in the last degrees, the last 2.5 degrees of Capricorn. Then this Pluto return is really going to go right through until 2025. The influence of it is going to go right through for that period of time. What are the themes of Pluto? They are, what is happening is everything America is not is being shown. It's coming up. It's coming up into their reality, right? It's coming up for the people to see, for it to be purged out. This will be the destruction of United States America as we know it. But mark my words, the symbol of the Pluto return would be that of a phoenix rising from the ashes. And yeah, as we know it now, the America that we know now is going to be burnt to the ground symbolically. And anything that is not aligned to the deepest values of the people of that land and that great nation will not be reborn, will not be rebirthed. And a new America will rise. And this is the aspect and symbolism of Pluto and Pluto's return. Now, there is a technique in astrology called a directed solar arc, and it helps us understand about certain phases or, certain themes that are becoming important for your personal chart, but also, nations and things like that. So if I check that chart, the directed solar arc for now, the directed solar arc Pluto is sitting on the midheaven the midheaven of the USA chart, whilst it's having its Pluto return at the same time. And this is significant, and this really links up America with Australia. Okay, so when you're looking at the midheaven of the birth chart of a nation, you're looking at the ruling governance. Who is in power? Who is making the laws? Who is in the authority or ruling government of that nation? And what is happening to that? Whether it's legit one or is it? Because he's on it. Like, you had Obama, who was the teleprompter president. He had that reading. He was really good at reading from the thing. You had Trump that came in and blew the fucking trumpet, right? And now you've got the movie set guy who's playing a role. They've all been playing a role, but he's legitimately playing a role to make you think that he's a dementia senile, fucking lost his plot marbles loony. So much so that they've fenced off Washington, D.C., and he's not even, when he's at the White House, like, that's a set. What is that telling you? What is that telling you? Because what's happening is the directed solar arc Pluto is in conjunction with the midheaven. So the death and rebirth of the governance, the authority, the governing, you're really witnessing that. And it's a particular ideology that government in particular represents. And it's indicative of a lot of Western cultures at the moment. And it's becoming like overtly obvious of how fucking ludicrous and just doesn't matter which side of the political fence. You can't be looking at the policies and the values of that political ideological system and you're thinking, yeah, that's great for everyone. It's like totalitarianism, authoritarianism, it's communism, socialism. It's a combination of all those fucking things, right? In the guise of like, we're all in this together. I think people really need to realize that that's not the way forward. And the guy in control of the government, or is he or isn't he, the puppet that they're putting forth is that guy, the fall guy. He's doing a really good job of showing the people, right? Showing them what's going on. So why does that tie to Australia? Because in Australia's chart, we have, right? Let's just quickly look at Australia's chart. Australia. Fuck. Okay. So here's Australia's chart, and right on our midheaven, 2 degrees of Aquarius, right? We have, approaching this point, we have Pluto. Pluto's sitting right here at 27 degrees. It'll get to 28 degrees this year, retrograde back, and then next year it'll move it into Aquarius. Not quite, I believe, until 2024 does it cross over this boundary, but it's in an orb of influence. What is happening with the governance in Australia, right? The same theme that's happening with the government in America. That's same indicative of a lot of these Western governments that are really like self-destructing. Like if you look at it, it's like, what the actual fuck are these people? They've got hidden and concealed secretive agendas. They're manipulating, they're using emotion to manipulate people. Look at the so-called leader of the political party in Melbourne. I don't like to use names because you get banned on these platforms or you get, shadow banned. But he uses emotion to manipulate and coerce his people, right? He's the charismatic leader, right? And they all fall for it, hook, line, and sinker. And that's a classic Pluto theme. It's using emotion to control. It's using, it's having concealed motives. It's having hidden sort of motives, or even a hidden hand that's in real control. So these themes are becoming really important. Where's our Pluto? Our Pluto in this great nation of Australia is in the second house. So what's happening with the people in general? We're having a really deep transformation of the things that we value, right? Money, wealth, possessions, they're going through this big transformation. So I won't bang on too much about that, but there is a link between those two charts at the moment because the themes are becoming very similar. And they're reflected not only in those two countries that I mentioned, but a lot of Western countries around the world, because the American ideology was such a beacon for the West, right? So as it is a beacon for the West and West in general, whatever happens there reverberates through this Western culture. So it'll be felt all around the Western world more so. And what do we have? The big great distraction at the moment. Well, look over here, because Russia, Ukraine, and Putin, and so anyway, to recap, you know what? There's something beautiful and amazing about today. And the fact is that your heart's beating and you're standing vertical on this beautiful land that we call and share, and we share and call the earth. The earth is an anagram for heart. You're here to open your heart. On the 22nd of the 2nd, 2022, what a beautiful time to really reconnect to that and open your heart. But let me tell you something. Yesterday was the same fucking day and tomorrow is as well. So don't limit yourself by these dates and think that that's the date and I missed out, or I didn't do anything special, or maybe I didn't have time, or I felt really bad and what's going to happen? Nothing. Because every single day you wake up grateful to be here in this earth body and having this beautiful spiritual human experience. You're here to do the great work, to transform, to evolve consciousness, to heal your ancestral wounds, to make this world a better place. And the way in which you do that is you don't wait for the change out here, you start being it. Don't look out there for signs of love and transformation and your responsibility. You want freedom? Well, with freedom comes great responsibility, and it's time to take that responsibility, not just on the 22nd of the 2nd, 2022, but every fucking day there and after it. Wake up with an act of gratitude in your heart. Be thankful that you're here. Tap into your intuition. Ask, what am I dealing with now? What is the best use of my time and energy right now? Right? Listen. We're in Pisces season. Listen to your body. Pay attention. Listen to your intuition. Connect with your dreams. Get inspired. Activate your imagination. Dream big. That's all. Be a human, irrespective of fancy dates. So that's it. If you like the video, make sure you hit the bum. Tell me what you think in the comments. Give me some feedback. If you really enjoyed this perspective, share it around the merry-go fucking round. And if you want some personal guidance to tap in to your own sort of soul purpose, if you like, and help you get some clarity on specifically like you and what you're doing and how to overcome things and what's important and where we're going, then your birth chart can provide that information. And me, all I am is the conduit to help you understand you, and I use your birth chart to do it. So if you want to get a session, details are below. Peace out.